Hi everyone, Maurice here. Welcome to Tanks Invest, where we're going to be talking about investing, finance, and professional developments. For today's video, is for entertainment purposes only. The stock that we're going to talk about today would be Tesla, TSLA. As you know, across the board today, for a lot of the EV stocks and high growth stocks, it's been experiencing some of a sell-off across the board today. I believe Tesla at one point, around noontime or 11:30 on Eastern time period, it was down to close to about 5% of the day, which was a pretty sizable sell-off for the size of a company like Tesla, right? So I'm going to go through a technical analysis to see where I see some of the resistance level that we should be looking out for, where do I see the stock going from here, where do I see the optimal price point to get into if you're interested in buying, and also my year-end price target for 2021 for Tesla stock as well. So stay tuned, stick around, and let's make some money. So moving on to Tesla for the technical analysis, you could see that similar to like all the other growth and EV stocks and just tech stocks in general, we've been selling off significantly. This morning I believe Tesla at one point was down about like 5%. And you can see that in the morning 663.12, and then we sold off significantly, dip all the way down here to the $645 level, which has been just a very strong resistance level that we've been forming historically. Like the 640, 645 has always been a pretty strong resistance level that we bounce back. Obviously there was a black swan events that happened a little bit a while back, in March, early March, that subsequently drove that stock down even further to like the 580s to like the 550 level. But that was like a one-off situation that's immediately had like an extremely V-shaped recovery. But today was more just like a market shake-off because of the CPI report that we'll be getting, in the later this part of this week. And right now, people are basically both on the hedge fund side, the computer algo side, and also on the consumer retail investor side. They are basically leaning more towards a negative sentiment right now, which is driving the sell off. And on top of this, severity of the sell off is really mainly due to last Friday was not really a mega green day or like a mega red day. It was just kind of like floating sideways. So today was just a catalyst that it's Monday and the CPI report, people are basically thinking it's going to be negative. So a lot of people kind of baking this together right now. And on top of that fact that people either have a propensity to buy a lot on Monday, which subsequently drive like a mega green day, or sell significantly on a Monday, which is another effect, right? So you could see that we sold off and hit all the way down to the 640 level, and then we subsequently bounced back and consolidating. But you could see that the consolidation is more like a downward consolidation because Tesla is a pretty mega growth stocks, and people are there's a lot of immediate negative affectation around the stock as well. And I think probably the SNL with Elon Musk has another effect to this. And also Tesla has a lot of correlations to the cryptocurrencies, which you saw that people are probably selling Tesla stocks or a lot of the growth stocks to buy Ethereum, which, as you can see, has been pumping up like crazy today. And it's been pumping up like just it's going to the moon basically, right? So there are a lot of obviously negative affectation that's going on right now. Look at the RSI right now. We are basically, it's oversold in the morning, got back up, but right now we're just kind of consolidating again. And I think right now around noontime we are having some sort of like a rebound, because a lot of the West Coasters are waking up now. So what I see going forward for the day is gonna be kind of consolidating going forward. MACD and RSI, oversold in the morning, but right now we're just kind of consolidating, basically being stable, not going up or not going down significantly, right? And on the daily chart perspective, you could see that I've draw like a wedge here, which, the wedge is basically forming in this, it's showing this like a squeezing wedge formation, right? And, just like historical chart perspective, you could see that it's been, basically meeting the line as a form of resistance, very firmly historically, right? Ever since the rally from last year November when we got that S&P inclusion, also the stock split, and then the sell-off. This was a very healthy correction because it needed to correct because we never had that formation of consolidation. So this was a a one time punch in the face that subsequently have some consolidation movement right now. And right now we are forming this like upward escalator type of movement in a more of a tighter formation, which I foresee that that's a very healthy thing. And this is basically showing media acceptance for the stock as a whole in a long-term perspective, and people are slowly gaining more and more acceptance to Tesla stock as a whole for the long-term perspective. So right now I think is a very good price point for us to get into, knowing the fact that we've been forming this resistance level 1, 2, 3 times, and we've been confirming that ever since. The wedge is forming, and what I see going forward is going to be bounce back up. It's going to be like basically like a pinball machine with within this triangle angle here. So it's going to be bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down, up until this point right here, which I believe sometimes around like the June time period, which is when the sector rotation will come, when summer comes, when most of the people in the US might get their vaccine, and people will have more accommodations for, I don't know, just working in the office space or slowly acclimating back to the normal cadence again. That I foresee that it's going to be a rotation with the hedge fund community to repurpose the allocations for the funds to high growth stocks again, to Tesla, which will subsequently pump up significantly upward from here, right? You could see that the RSI right now, basically pretty oversold, on a downward trend. On the MACD, we crossed downward, so I foresee us to be continued testing this level here, like the 640-ish level, and then it should bounce back upward. But if we don't, that could be pretty concerning, right? Because that will basically create an outlier to the trends that we've been forming historically. But every single time we've been kind of forming and going along in alignment with the trend, so I don't foresee that to be the case, knowing the fact that we have been confirming historically so far. So what I see going forward from here, I think right now would be a perfect time or perfect place for you to buy 640 or anything below 650 or anything below 700. To be honest with you, is pretty a great discount for the long-term business fundamental and the value proposition that the company stands for. That I foresee us to be going back, sometimes by June, to be hitting this level one more time, the $750 level. And by the end of the year, we should see some sort of like a positive effects with both the rotation, also with the Santa Claus effects, and also with the just the economical outlook, obviously contingent on the chip shortage as well, and the administration for the monetary policies with respect to the tax adjustments as well. That if those are all aligned, we should be seeing a significant rally from here going forward. All right, so just take a look at the tip ranks right now real quick. You can see that with the 24 analyst ratings, we have 11 buys, 6 holds, and 7 sells. And as of right now, we are basically trading around the same level as what the Wall Street average consensus is. So I think right now is a perfect time to buy, to be honest with you. And with the 12 months forecast, they're foreseeing more of a $1,200 of an upside from here, which is significantly, it's basically gonna double from here. In terms of like the low ratings of $67, I think that's highly unlikely. I think that's just misrepresentation and just someone that's highly bearish and just someone was like an anti-cult type of follower against the business model as a whole, and also with respect to Elon Musk personally as well. So $67 doesn't quite make any sense to me based on just how the stock is trading and how, in terms of like the business fundamental growth perspective, how the business is developing, in just the last couple of months so far and the year so far. For us to get back to $67, that's just like, it requires bankruptcies or Elon Musk getting hit by a car, with no form of succession plan whatsoever. But the likelihood of that is going to be very minimal, right? So 67 is unrealistic. 645, good price point for us to get into. $1,200, I think that's a little bit too overreach, maybe a little bit too optimistic. I think 2-3 years down the road that's possible, but for just like the next 12 months, I think somewhere close to like the 850, again the 950, highly likely, highly possible. I think right now for Tesla is definitely a very attractive level. Just to recap all the numbers that we talked about today, on 645 at the current price point right now. I think it's a fair price. You know, anything below 650 or anything below 700. If you believe in the long term value proposition of the company and the long term value that the company is going to generate, I think it's a huge significant discount. Thinking that about this like in a 1 year outlook or 2 years outlook, right? 645 would be definitely a great price point. And if we go down even further because of the CPI report that or any other negative media affectations, both on the macroeconomical side but also on the company management side, I think we could potentially get to like the 620, but that's like a really strong resistance level that we have tested several times again. And if we ever even go down below the 600 because of our black swan events that occurred like in March, early March, 595, that will be just a complete steal. I mean, just like robbing the bank level of steal, right? So that's a really really attractive level. I will definitely look out and buy a ton of shares if it gets there. And the year-end price target, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative compared to like the Wall Street consensus of like $1,200. I think that's possible, but I think 950 is might be more realistic in the next 12 months, or sometimes around like December this year. Might be more realistic because of the, just the whole shortage of chips, because of the whole sector allocations, rotations, and also, with the tax adjustments that Biden's proposing, the trade tension that's going on with China, a lot of exogenous factors that we still need to like kind of shake out, and people might be a little bit more conservative. Also, on top of the allocations for cryptocurrencies, which is another play that could maybe drag down the pump that we'll potentially be getting for Tesla, knowing that Tesla is more of a like a cult like following type of stocks, right? But 950, I think that's fairly likely possible. Knowing the fact that we did test that the all time high last year, or somewhere around like January this year. That if you buy now, that could get you somewhere close to like a 50% upside or like a 1.5 times your money, which is not bad really, right? But knowing the fact that Tesla long term wise, this hitting like a $2,000 stocks, $3,000 stocks wouldn't be surprising to me. Knowing the fact that the world is going there, the world is shifting and evolving in that perspective going forward. So all right, so that's it for today. Really appreciate you guys joining me and dropping by to spend time with me today to go through the technical analysis and also hear some of the insights, both on the macroeconomical perspective and also the microeconomic perspective. I truly enjoy doing this. I really look forward to producing more content for you guys, and hopefully you guys will learn a lot and gain value from these videos that I put together. Please stay tuned for the next video. Thanks.